Hey, Michelle.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, it's June. We need to look at May, Santa Clara County. How'd that market turn out?
What happened? I'm just kidding. Well, we're going to talk about three things.
Okay,
So we're going to talk about prices. We have to do that.
got to do that.
We're saying could May top April? Well, we'll see. And then also new listings, right? So everybody's been really interested in just kind of the market movement. So we'll see, have we seen the peak of new listings?
Right.
Also, just the competitiveness. So we'll be talking sale to list price for May. So let's jump into median sale price. There it
And
is.
there it is.
I wrote a note to myself, stop giggling. There's nothing funny about that. I mean, it's just one of those things where no matter how many times you see it, just the price appreciation over the last 4 or 5 months has been really intense. That's a 1.5% increase from April to May.
But
That
all
is
of our
another,
neighbors are experiencing the same thing, right?
yeah, it's happening all
Okay.
over. But I mean, still, I mean, another all-time high for the single family market, 20% increase in the median price since January, right? So in 5 months, 20%. I mean, that's pretty, well, hard to sustain for one thing, but also just, I mean, this just these markets so strong here in the Bay Area. It's pretty intense. I mean, if you look at it by city, we're going to focus month over month. Again, year over year is fine. It's a fine stat because a lot of things, the prices from a year ago, there were just fewer. So I keep saying that. But I'm going to concentrate on month over month because April was very strong. It was an all-time high. And so when you see cities coming up double digits ahead of where they were a month ago, you say, wow. I mean, Saratoga, Los Gatos, Gilroy also marginally up in sale to list price ratio. So we're seeing a lot of these cities just both, right? Just take off in both sale price and sale to list, which we'll look at here down the a little later in the video. But there were some mixed numbers depending on the list. I think Saratoga, I think that's an all-time high price on 34 sales. That's a lot. And
That's significant. Yeah.
yeah, and Palo Alto, right? Palo Alto got kind of beat up last year, highest price since 2018. And so this is really, really strong. I mean, there were some cities that declined in price when you look at April, May compared to April. Interestingly, if you look year over year, only Campbell and San Martin were lower in May of 2021 than a year ago, right? So it means in those two cities, actually a year ago, their prices were higher. So we see them on this list because they also did not rise to higher levels in April. So there was some declines and by double digits in those two cities. Otherwise, we saw marginal. And then Sunnyvale increased in sale to list price, so down a little bit on price, up in sale to list price. Same with Morgan Hill, down a little
Right.
in price, up in. So, just by and large, market's still really strong in the single family home
Okay.
arena. I think people like the common interest
Yeah, I think
slide. So
it's a keeper, as they say.
yeah, it is a keeper. So here we see, and it looks really similar. Numbers a little smaller, but looks really similar to the single family home
Yeah, the
trend,
same
right? So
line.
last 5 months, yeah. So a little bit of a increase of 1%-ish from April to May, but this is a 3+ year high, right? So we saw 940,000, 950,000 in the spring, summer of 2018, but we just haven't seen anything like this before. So for a while, for the last few years.
Right.
So real increase in those. And then when you look by city, you could see here where it appreciated, it did significantly.
Again, Saratoga, look at that right at the top.
Yeah. So Campbell up big in price and also 5% sale to list price, which we'll look at. Palo Alto also up in price and pay over ask. Saratoga common interest looks like an all-time high. So they might have had an all-time high
In both categories,
in
yeah.
both categories, right? So there's just a strong demand in Saratoga there. So we'll keep our eye on that. Let's transition to new listings, right? Because this is something people are wondering about because, that has a lot to do with prices and who comes out to buy homes. And,
Right. And new
is there
listings, that's the fuel of the marketplace, sort of.
Yeah,
That's
I think so. I mean, we keep looking at it because, for a while, it's just how many are coming on the market draws buyers out, may increase, the bidding and things.
right.
But, we saw the new listings come down a little bit, about 1% in the number of new listings in May. This is
Okay.
not unusual. The cycle is disrupted last year, but this is typical in prior years, right? If you look at prior years, it kind of peaks in the early, late winter, early spring, and then comes
Right.
down. So not necessarily what especially as we look month over month, these are the cities where you say, wow, they're still coming on and they're exceeding the month prior, meaning it's kind of still on the upswing. So we see several cities where there were more new listings, which means buyers have a little bit more choice. or in Monte Sereno's case, the exact same. But then we see the markets where, yeah, it's declining a little bit, right? So more cities in Santa Clara County that decreased in the total number of new listings. So, we'll have to kind of keep a look at what's going on. But this is not necessarily, like I said, unusual, but it could put upward pressure on prices because there's just fewer choices. So we'll have to see on that. Yeah, a little more red than we're used to seeing at the beginning of the year.
Yes.
Look at the common interest market, right? So this is transitioning month over month, but in common interest, you see a lot more green, right? 624 common interest listings in May. That's the highest number we've seen since at least 2018, right? It's a 7% increase from April. And where there were fewer, it wasn't by many listings at all. So that market seems to trend up. Now, I like looking at the weeklies. We've been looking at these for a while, and you can see here 2 years, we're trending on a weekly basis higher than the last couple of years. So you can see it here in the data. There's still quite a few new listings coming on the market, and there will be, but it decreased in a lot of cities by a few, right? So we'll see how that goes, and we'll be back next month to talk about, again, this is the Aculist Weekly, available every Tuesday morning on Pro. So the last thing I'm looking at, because this has been the big story I think so far in 2021, but this is just a sale to list price ratio sticking at 110, leveling off. We saw Santa Cruz and San Mateo decline a little bit by 1%, so a little break for the buyers. Yeah, but it's still over ask. If we look at the numbers, look at these numbers, and this is month over month, right? So it just depends on where you are. So remember, price is pretty mixed. Generally higher, but mixed. So you can see it. So Campbell, haven't seen a number like this since 2018. So it was 115 was the highest it's ever been. Sunnyvale was at 122 in January 2018, but this is a 3+ year high. Los Altos almost an all-time high. It was 113 in the spring of 2018. But these are big, percentages here that we've seen. There were a few cities that decreased from April to May, but still, at or over 100. So, gosh, then you think, oh, I got a break, but Monte Sereno at 115 in April was an all-time number, I think. So, maybe some of these just can't sustain that. And then also, when you're celebrating, like, I got a good deal, but Los Altos Hills, Monte Sereno, and Palo Alto down on this chart, but up in price month over month. So it seems like you're paying, right? So it just kind of depends, but we are seeing things trend a little bit. On the common interest side, there's a big number of zeros. It looks like a lot of green, but like Los Gatos to Sunnyvale there, that heart of the chunk of the screen was just at 0. So maintaining, we saw this, the county was at 105%, staying there for the second month. So hadn't seen that since 2018. So it's high, it's just kind of leveling off high. And I think like Gilroy 108, I think that's an all-time, right? So.
Well, and this truly is, the seller sets the list price, but the buyer sets the sale price, and the buyer is still willing to set this level of pricing.
Yeah, it's pretty good out there. So if you're selling, you're still pretty happy, and we'll keep an eye on the cycle, Mark. A lot of people are asking us, are we going to have a quote unquote normal cycle? And so we're going to learn that in the next 30 to 60 days. We'll keep our eye on it, and should be a really interesting summer where it comes to, are we going to go back to what we usually see, or are things going to kind of level off? I don't know. It's Santa Clara County. You never know. So
we could be at the start of an adjustment, but we're not going to find out for maybe like 3 months. So
yeah, we'll be back next month to talk about what's happening though. So
okay. Hey, Michelle, thanks for being with us today. We always learn a lot when you come to town, as they say. So thank you very much. Have a great month. We'll see you in July.
Make sure to check out our Pro Support page for additional videos on a full range of topics. And don't forget to click that subscribe button on our MLS Listings YouTube page.